Maybe. Yeah.
Bro.
Yes,
Bro.
I'm checking a Zillow email. Hold on, what?
Did you check Fortnite?
No.
There's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Why are you talking about Fortnite?
I saw something and it had Pirates of the Caribbean skins.
Oh, great.
It even has the tentacle guy.
Even has a tentacle guy. Bro, I'm just watching the stream. I'm watching that Wiffle fight, because that Wiffle fight was epic, right? Was
Bro,
it
how many
epic?
views? How many views?
I don't know. 1 view.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyways.
Okay. I'm streaming. Damn. Bro, that stream
It's
was...
literally just a CIA team or the FBI team investigating you with a big ass TV, and they're just in their seats.
What the fuck? I bet they had popcorn.
They're like, what's you gonna say next?
That stupid... wait,
Check his
what?
webcam. Hold up, check his TikTok. He might have posted something illegal. Okay. Oh, he got blown up by a creeper. Skill issue.
That was for 12.0. Shut the fuck up. Baba booey bitch. Baba boo boo boo.
Bro died in modded Minecraft by a creeper.
For...
3 times.
More than 3 times.
Okay.
They really hate me, you know. Creepy boys. Dude, I had 3 wivels on me last night. They were fucking me. You know, they were fucking me. Okay, let's listen to that video we were gonna watch.
Okay.
Wait, not so far away. Yes, it's lovely.
2:30 in the afternoon. Virgin Voyages is the newest major cruise sized rather
Ah, shit.
Virgin Voyages is the newest major cruise line to hit the market, and their soon to be 4 identical ships are either really well liked or criticized rather harshly by their passengers. I've personally watched their tumultuous rollout with skepticism, but also with quite a bit of intrigue, since I knew they had hired some really solid industry veterans to run the company. So I ventured out to Miami to try out their new product and see if it's worth the money. This is my review of the Valiant Lady and really Virgin Voyages as a whole. So, Virgin Voyages is the creation of Tom McAlpin and a Virgin Group executive named Nirmal Savarimutu. At the time, Tom was the CEO of The World, a floating condo cruise ship. But before that, he was one of the founding members of Disney Cruise Line and oversaw the creation of the Magic and Wonder. In 2011, the two men pitched the idea for a sleek new cruise line to the Virgin Group, and ultimately the company moved forward with the idea, announcing Virgin Cruises, which would later become Virgin Voyages. Once the design was finalized, 4 ships would eventually be ordered at Fincantieri, and a new terminal would be built at the port of Miami. All 4 of these new-build ships would be nearly identical, with the Scarlet Lady launching first in 2020, ultimately being delayed due to the pandemic to summer 2021. The Valiant Lady came next in March 2022, with the others launching in later 2023. What's interesting about the company, though, is that it's not actually owned by Virgin. In fact, Virgin's a minority stakeholder. Bain Capital, a private equity firm, actually owns the majority shares of the company. Just last summer, BlackRock, another investment corporation, bought into the company with a $550 million investment. It's unclear whose shares were diluted with that investment, but it is known that Virgin and Richard Branson are really only here for branding. Now, the company did start out in probably the worst time imaginable for the cruise industry, and it seems like Virgin Voyages is still recovering. The brand has been heavily advertising what their experience is like, positioning themselves as a cruise line for a new generation of people who would have never gone on a cruise ship in the first place, focusing mainly on the luxury and the fact that this is an adults-only cruise line. Has that worked out for them yet? I'm not sure. Their ships are built for 2,700 people across a reasonably large 110,000-ton ship. But on our sailing, there were just around 850 people on board. That's 31% of the ship's overall capacity. So, Virgin has been inviting a bunch of people in the media to try out their new product. And I'm one of them. Virgin Voyages covered my cruise fare and gave me some onboard credits. They didn't pay for my flight or hotel expenses, which were around $1,500 Canadian, and they have absolutely no say in this review. In fact, I'm not even showing them this video before it goes out. So, with all of that established, let's jump on board and check out the cabins first. Across Valiant Lady's 1,408 cabins, the vast majority are made up of balcony cabins, or what they call sea terraces. Virgin has received a lot of criticism for these staterooms, and going into this, I was really skeptical on how these cabins would hold up over an 8-day trip. However, they certainly weren't as bad as I thought, and our space was rather comfortable over our voyage. Well, sort of. Originally, we were placed on Deck 14 aft, 3 cabins away from the very back. Deck 14 is also one below the pool deck and the galley. Now, the problems began over our first night as the bass-heavy music from the 2 decks above were causing a very noisy and prevalent vibration through our cabin. It sounded like we were living below a nightclub or something that operated 24/7. Our friends who were placed next door to us were also bothered by the consistent noise to the point where we all had trouble sleeping. Ultimately, upon bringing this to Sailor Services, the onboard customer service, they kindly moved us to a different cabin midship, and the problem was fixed. Now, I know the ship is for people who want to vibe with fun music or whatever, and I get that through the daytime and even into the evening. But I guarantee you, no one is out on this deck at 2:30 in the morning. There's barely anyone there at 2:30 in the afternoon. I'll get to that later. Now, I have a lot more to say about the actual design of our room, the different categories, and the suite experience. So much so that I've made a separate video on it. You can find a link to that in the description below or in the top right corner. Now, one of the most positive aspects I had heard about Virgin Voyages was their food. I've seen a lot of people raving about it, with some claiming it was the best aspect of their experience. For me, though, and this came as a pretty big shock, I really didn't think the food was all that special. Honestly, I was pretty let down. Now, Valiant Lady has a good deal of eateries on board, In fact, Virgin says there's over 20 places to eat. 6 of those are what is marketed as the equivalent to paid specialty restaurants on other ships. They make up the core dinner experience with culinary flavors of all types. From what I understand, unlike regular cruise ship main dining rooms where all the food is prepared at once and sort of like a big assembly line, the food is prepared for each table with quality rivaling high-quality restaurants on land. In practice, though, I honestly didn't find the food all that much better than a regular cruise ship main dining. Now, that's not to say everything was lackluster. The options here are much greater with a wide variety of unique menus for each venue. Over our 8-day trip, we had a chance to try every single restaurant on board, including those 6 main dining rooms. Pink Agave with its Mexican-inspired dishes was our personal favorite on board. Everything from the guac and chips to the steak with cheese were superb. Gambay, the Korean barbecue, was a really fun and unique concept for a ship with amazing table service and pretty good food. As was the test kitchen, which was mostly good, with an alcohol pairing that's honestly a pretty amazing deal for what you're getting. The other main dining, though, it was all pretty mid to me. They weren't bad by any stance, but they just weren't all that memorable. At least to meet my admittedly pretty high expectations for the hype and the price point. Even the fancy steakhouse called The Wake had good appetizers, but really disappointing at landing on. In fact, we found
Okay. Anyways, don't ask what just happened. Hello? Are you still here? Hello?
was kind of fatty and lacking
Fuck, I think he died. I think he died. Yeah, he died. Yeah, he died. Xavier. If he... English or Spanish?
Seasoning or flavor. We found ourselves picking around the chunks of fat in certain meals like the pasta from Razzle Dazzle. But this is a cruise and casual food is just as big of a deal. Now, unlike regular ships with big buffets, Virgin has decided to try something different with what's called the galley. They call it a food hall style concept where multiple stands are dotted around the space, serving up flavors of all kinds. You can find a burger stand, a diner, pastries and desserts, ramen, Mexican paninis, and sushi. This is considered the ship's main quick service option, a mashup of multiple flavors open throughout the day, some even later into the night. But unlike a regular buffet or even quick service option, the galley is almost entirely full service, meaning a waiter has to come around and take your order from a set menu. I found this a bit strange since the galley is set up with a bunch of stands that seems like it would operate as a walk-up, grab pre-made items and go. Instead, you need to pick off what feels like a pretty limited menu, wait for someone to take your order, and bring you food. And the food you do get was, again, pretty middle of the road for me. And to make things even more confusing, we would cluelessly order something off the menu just to be informed by our waiter that it was actually something you could go up and grab yourself, such as the pastry, salads, and sushi. This was not something that was specified on the menu itself, which just made the whole experience a bit confusing. Of course, this really only affects the first day or two of your trip, and once you get the hang of things, it works pretty quickly. But really, I was missing a traditional buffet, as we found the wait for service a bit disorganized and time-consuming. Instead of the freedom and flexibility of a buffet or self-service, we found ourselves waiting for food that would all come out at different times, and we would end up spending so much longer than we wanted to just sitting down waiting for quick service style food. And again, the food was just okay, though there were some standouts like the sushi, which was consistently good. Everything else there felt like regular cruise ship food to me. Honestly, at the same level, if not lower than Disney's food. But that's not the only place to eat. You do have a few other options spread around the ship, like the Sun Club Cafe, serving up poke bowls, and the Dock House, with some smaller Mediterranean dishes. My issue with these places is the lunch selection is much more designed to be small dishes so you can try everything. The problem is, sometimes I just want one large meal for lunch. It doesn't help that on the menu for some of these places, there's just 4 items to choose from. I could really only have so many shrimp skewers and watermelon salad for lunch 8 days in a row. There are some other eateries like the Social Club Diner, which serves up decently good pretzels and very not good hot dogs, along with somehow mediocre flavorless popcorn. For 7 different lunches,
Wow.
I found it pretty difficult to actually find a consistent place to eat in, which I felt both fulfilled and excited to
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
How much I weigh is nobody's business. But Eric Hovde wants to make it his.
Eric Hovde thinks that if you're over...
turn. Eddie basically ended up eating sushi every day as it was grab and go. It also didn't help that some of the menu items were secrets. They didn't show up on any onboard menu, and I had to search them on Google to find out what they were. I am fully willing to admit, though, that this experience may have been an anomaly, since a lot of people have raved about the food, and it even looks better in other people's reviews. So maybe we were just on a weird sailing where it wasn't all figured out yet, or something. Because the burgers in other people's videos look a lot better than the regular cruise ship burger I had ordered and waited 15 minutes for. I will say, though, that there is one eatery that I was always looking forward to, and that's the Pizza Place. They'll make custom pies for you, and they're consistently fantastic. And in the same vein, the bars on board were also all pretty great. The Sip Lounge was very elegant and kind of reminded me of the Disney Wish, while On the Rocks served as a very intimate and dark mixology bar. I even found my new favorite malt scotch there. Now, others have created much more comprehensive food and drink reviews on YouTube, so if you want to get a better idea of what's offered on board, I'll link some below. While food was a bit of a miss for me, the onboard entertainment was most certainly not. We tried to go to most of the onboard nighttime shows, and honestly, they absolutely nailed them all. The first night featured the untitled dance show party thing, and it's exactly the mood you think it is. It's weird, high energy, and I love it. It's featured in a bespoke event space called the Red Room, a dynamic venue able to be transformed into whatever the event that night requires. The dance party sets the mood for the whole voyage, while other events like Never Sleep Alone takes full advantage of the adults-only opportunity with maybe or maybe not tasteful use of vulgarity. Dual Reality has got to be one of the best cruise ship shows at sea, with a thrilling show and incredible display of visual storytelling. And this doesn't even make up the full list of entertainment. Valiant Lady also has her own resident drag queen called the Diva, who hosts a few events, including probably the most entertaining bingo at sea. She also did a really fun show called Around the World in 80 Minutes. It's hosted in the ship's dedicated nightclub called The Manor, and once the shows are over, on most nights, the space becomes a completely different vibe and turns into straight up just a nightclub. Like a real nightclub, not a cruise ship nightclub, a real one. It's genuinely one of the best designed spaces on board, and we all consistently had a ton of fun here. But the entertainment doesn't end there, as on each sailing, there's one special ship-wide event called Scarlet Night. It was produced by playwright Randy Weiner, and it's kind of like Pirate Night on Disney Cruise Line, just for adults. Since the whole ship is lit by LEDs, everything becomes red with pop-up performances and music throughout the ship. It ultimately guides guests to the top pool deck, where a final epic performance is held, followed by an insane pool party. But that's just the nighttime entertainment. While there maybe isn't as much to do for midday programming, Virgin has also excelled with daytime events. Trivia is super energetic, and there are a myriad of really high-quality themed fitness classes, though ticketed events like the latter do sell out quickly. Live music is also hosted throughout the voyage at all times of the day, from formal blues in On the Rocks to an informal live performance at the dock. Virgin absolutely knocked this out of the park, and it was very clear that they made this experience a priority and hired the very best in the industry to take risks, try new things, and create a fun atmosphere. While I have heard reports that entertainment has recently been cut back on, what we personally experienced on board was great. Overall, the entertainment is sensational. It's damn near perfect, which is honestly something I didn't think was possible in the modern cruise industry. While the Red Room and the Manor are beautifully and cleverly designed spaces, I can't say the same for the rest of the ship. In fact, while the entertainment may be my favorite aspect of the experience, the ship itself might be my least favorite. From the exterior, Valiant Lady features a bunch of new cruise ship design trends, like a parabolic bow and a skinny superstructure at the aft to allow for an extended rear promenade deck. The forward superstructure extends all the way to the tip of the bow. However, puzzlingly, the ship has no public forward-facing views, like, at all. See all of those balcony-like dividers at the front? Yeah, those aren't balconies. It's all crew-only access space. Same with what looks like to be a walk-around promenade deck on what would be Deck 8. Nope, also crew only. Up on top, there's Richard's Rooftop, the suite's only sun deck. But all of the forward-facing glass here is heavily tinted to prevent you from seeing through to give privacy to the suites below. But even those suites, which are the only area to truly see forward, are also somewhat obstructed since the veranda is recessed back from the edge. The whole thing is really strange, and unfortunately, this is a running theme aboard Virgin Voyages. On board, you feel so disconnected from the ocean. At Richard's Rooftop, the whole thing is surrounded by double high railings with heavily tinted glass. It's extremely weird that this was the case. Like, for instance, we were sitting with some friends having a drink during sunset while we were at sea. And this was our view. We're on a ship. I don't understand. I want to see the ocean. This same design can also be found on the promenade deck, which more than half the space is crowded with lifeboats. Most new cruise ships, like Norwegian Prima and even MSC Seaside, have adopted this boardwalk style as well. However, they've placed theirs above the lifeboats. It gives a ton more room to utilize this space. Virgin, however, does not take advantage of this, and as a result, has a medium-sized sun deck that's surrounded by this double-high tinted glass, and has the rest of the promenade deck populated by the lifeboats. It almost looks like a cargo ship the rest of the way, and it's a shame because they have these really nice vintage-looking lounge chairs here. Except, of course, they have a terrible view, and they have an unpleasant exhaust vent right above them. Even my favorite place on board, the dock, uses its space in questionable ways. It mercifully does not have the double high railings, but it does have two structures on each side of the space. Throughout my entire voyage, neither of these pavilions were being used, and even if they were, why weren't they placed on the interior of the space and not blocking the majority of the port and starboard ocean views? It's just a very puzzling design. Up on the top decks, fitness and exercise is the primary focus. The ship has two main pools, one with really comfortable loungers surrounding it, and the other looking like a massive hot tub, except it isn't. That pool area is flanked on either end by two gyms. It sort of eliminates the ocean views from the pool area, but the design is pretty interesting and kind of fresh. Now, the ship can hold 2,700 people, and with only two small pools and 4 public hot tubs, the sea days can get a little packed. The themes of fitness also extends to the decks above, with nearly the entire aft portion dedicated to it. There's a small basketball court, adult seesaws, exercise equipment, and fun lounge chairs. On the other side, there are private cabanas which you can rent out. They're priced between $350 and $500 a day, but they're also located pretty far from the pool. We didn't see a single person use them the entire voyage, and it's a shame they took up so much real estate. At the very back, there's the net. A neat suspended catamaran-style net perched slightly over the back of the ship. It looks directly down nearly 10 decks in some areas, and it's a pretty neat gimmick for sure. Around it are a bunch of lounge chairs with a bar. We sat here maybe twice, and it's nice that another 2 hot tubs are over here, but with the ship less than a year old, the loungers were already extremely dirty. This is also where they blast music to like a maximum of 10 people here during the day, and this is what caused the issues for our cabin 2 decks below. But speaking of those hot tubs, they don't even really feel like they belong here. They kind of look like they were just put here arbitrarily and not designed to be here. In fact, I feel like Virgin is very much lacking some nice infinity pools and hot tubs. Basically, all modern luxury ships are implementing these on their decks. I mean, even Carnival is. I wish this whole area would have been some fancy infinity pool area rather than a somewhat underutilized lounging space. But Valiant Lady does have something others don't, and that's a dedicated running track perched on the highest deck. And to be fair, it's a fantastic place to run. It's also one of the only places on board that get a truly unobstructed ocean view. I really like this design, and close by are some fun water buckets to cool yourself off with. Finally, slightly above that is the perch, a quiet sun deck which is used for yoga in the morning. Really, in my opinion, this should have been the location for Richard's rooftop, since it actually has good ocean views. Now, moving inside, the design is sort of a hit or miss for me. Virgin contracted a few different interior designers to dream up the inside of the ship. So many of the individual venues were crafted by several different designers, and all of them are pretty solid. It's modern and tasteful in most parts, nothing insanely beautiful or anything, but it all does look pretty good. They're also all on the smaller side to allow a more intimate feeling and to give you the impression you're on a smaller ship than you actually are. I really love that, but it's everywhere else that sort of misses it with me. From what I understand, design firm Concrete Amsterdam was tasked with bringing all of these individual spaces together. Now, I mentioned in my separate room review video that the ship feels like a W hotel to me, with its overall minimalist design and bold colors. It makes sense too, as Concrete Amsterdam has worked on W hotels in the past, but the common areas within Virgin's ships just feel a bit bland to me. I understand that's in part the aesthetic that they're going for here. But when each elevator lobby looks the same with the gray walls leading you in different directions, it's difficult to orient yourself. It doesn't help that there's no signs immediately around you, as well as no deck plans. Even the stairs kinda look outdated. It was described to me that they look like they're from a ferry, and I completely see that.
Listen, paying $14.99 a month for a streaming app, and $9.99 a month for a music app, and $12.99 for a fitness app, and more money for a bunch of other apps, that really adds up. So why not get YouTube Premium for just $13.99? It's like having all those and the entire world of YouTube uninterrupted. Your wallet will thank you. If wallets could talk. YouTube Premium.
Wow, I hate
Spaces
YouTube
as
Premium.
essential to
Shut
the
the fuck up,
experience as
bitch.
even the lobby just feel a bit bland. With that said, it's obviously not all that bad. I love the fact that there are some live plants everywhere on board, and the lighting is super fun and dynamic. The elevators are also always a fun ride, and the Deck 5 spa is really well appointed. That whole space feels very upscale and well thought out, even if it is an extra charge. But if you're only looking for stuff that's free on board, the ship has a few great complimentary venues to use, like the Groupie, a group karaoke room, plus a full arcade with free-to-play games. Basic Wi-Fi and soft drinks like Coke are included as well, which is a nice premium perk. I will say that while some of the seating on board is infuriatingly uncomfortable, there are other places like the large couches on the promenade and the day beds at the dock that are supremely comfortable. I was looking forward to waking up every morning to go down to the dock, have a glass of green juice at an extra charge, and lay on the beds to do some work. Overall, though, I'm just not a huge fan about how everything feels so gray and a bit lifeless in places. I know it's their second ship, and I suppose I wouldn't have such an issue with it if they hadn't committed to this design for their entire future fleet. This is how Virgin Voyages is going to be for likely the next decade, and I find it weird that they ordered all of these ships before it was even tested by consumers. Virgin has also structured their ship experience much like all modern cruise lines, with the assistance of a mobile app. This was the single most aggravating aspect of our entire voyage. It continues to blow my mind that Virgin has still not fixed their mobile app yet, especially since it's such a fundamental part of the experience. Despite the company sailing into their third year of revenue operations, the app is still a glitchy mess. Some that we talked to had less issues than others. I somehow seemingly had every problem. The app would sometimes crash. Sometimes it would open with a permanent white screen. On the first day, it was consistently showing wrong information, and the orientation would be locked in place. And halfway through a cruise, after we had switched cabins, I was just unable to check my onboard credit balance for the remainder of the voyage, which I would say is kind of a fundamental feature of the app. I even went down to guest services, confirmed with them that it wasn't working, and was told that someone from their IT department would contact me, which never happened. Apart from the myriad of actual stability issues, the usability and overall user interface is also really not great. The app is just so extremely unintuitive and difficult when doing things as simple as booking events and dining. It took us an hour just to book and sort out all of our restaurant reservations. We had to write everything on a little sticky note on the side. There's like 30 other examples I can give you, but the stuff that really annoyed me were things that should be here, but just aren't. Like, there's no in-app deck plans, and when you tap on the icon to show you them, it directs you to a PDF on a web browser. It has 20 restaurants and lists all of them on the app, but only a select few have a menu you can actually view. Others just inexplicably don't. They also list times in which they're open, but some contradict the times that they're open on the same page. I even tried out Shippies, their onboard delivery service, which actually worked pretty well. And it should, since you are charged $5 to use it. But despite me selecting items in the app like gummy bears, I received the food without them, which is kind of annoying since you are paying money for the delivery. For a cruise line, that basically requires you to use the app to get the most out of your experience. The actual use of it is so cumbersome, and I really hope they fix this. But okay, let's talk about pricing. Our voyage for an 8-day Eastern Caribbean sailing for 2 people would have cost $4,168 USD, or $5,545 Canadian. Technically, that is a discounted rate from a promotion, but who knows if it would actually have been that much more. Still, that's pretty expensive, and while it is 8 nights, the itinerary is just okay. The best part for me was St. Croix and Bimini. While Virgin doesn't have their own private island, they do have a leasing agreement with Resorts World Casino on Bimini for their own private beach club, which was very impressive. If you're looking for cheaper options for an 8-night, for 2 people on the cheapest itinerary of the year, an inside cabin is honestly a fair $2,700, with an ocean view starting at $2,800, and a sea terrace makes the jump to around $3,200. Rockstar quarters take an even bigger leap, starting somewhere in the $7,800 range, and climbing to $30,000 for the big suites, which is honestly a terrible value. Now, for the shorter cruises, like the 4-day, a sea terrace is a much more doable $1,800. Now, to compare with another premium cruise line like Celebrity on their newest ships, a 7-night voyage on the brand new Celebrity Beyond in their veranda cabin would cost somewhere around $2,700. Now, this isn't exactly apples to apples, as Virgin is adults only and does some stuff better like entertainment. But again, Virgin does classify themselves as a premium cruise line with elevated and luxury touches. In practice, I think Celebrity outclasses Virgin in that department. Plus, at a cheaper base price, it's hard to justify the higher prices for Virgin. At the end of the day, though, my view of Virgin Voyages is actually very positive. But it's not for the reasons you may think. Throughout this whole video, I pointed out the many missteps I think they've taken thus far. But at the end of our voyage, and looking back on it today, I really kind of do miss it. Not for the ship, or the food, or even the entertainment. I miss it because of the experience and the people it allowed me to meet along the way. I never expected this, but Virgin Voyages has attracted some of the nicest, most fun people of all ages I have ever met on a cruise. Everyone is happy to be there and talk to you and just have fun. Partying with people at the Manor was a chaotic, extremely fun time, and the more people you meet, the more of a community of friends you would build throughout your voyage. You're encouraged to be yourself, and I found everyone to be warm and accepting of others. It was genuinely really touching to see. And it's not just the passengers, it's the crew too. Virgin allows the crew to actually be humans, letting them check their phones, socialize with others, and just be people. It's known that they're treated better on board and paid more, which is something the cruise industry absolutely needs to adopt. For the most part, everyone is always in a great mood and willing to help you with whatever you need. I think this cruise line, more than others, has cultivated a unique and chill subset of cruise passengers, and for that reason alone, I think this is something really special. But then, I believe this product only works if you're going in with the same mindset. If you're going into this with the attitude that you want to have a relaxing, quiet vacation and skip out on all the parties, then you're simply not getting your money's worth. I think if you can snag a 6 to 8 night voyage for under $3,000, then you'll come out of this pretty happy. I don't think it lives up to the level of premium that is a set standard by Celebrity, but I also totally see the unique value in entertainment and atmosphere. I am, though, really sad that Virgin has locked themselves into the ship design for their entire fleet. I'm also worried on how Virgin is going to scale and work operationally, since the word is 2,700 people on board these ships is a tight squeeze. On our voyage, with just 800 people or so, restaurants and events were booked up quickly. On sea days, those 2 small pools and the loungers around them started looking even smaller. I can't imagine another 2,000 people on top of that, all on board. And reports indicate management is stressed once the ship goes past 1,500 people. I'll link a video about that in more detail in the description. Regardless of all of that, I really am excited to see where they go after this. If Virgin builds out a luxury product more akin to Celebrity ships, along with the experience that they deliver now, I think they are set for a great future. But if or when that will actually happen, well, who knows. So let's give this an actual score. I call my scoring system Jake's Is It Any Good score. and it's based on 5 different categories, all out of 10, for a possible perfect score of 50 out of 50. I'll start with the staterooms. They're comfortable with some luxury features, but overall pretty small for the price category, and have a design concept that is more cumbersome than useful. For me, it's a 5 out of 10. Food should have been the strong category here from everything I had heard. From the slightly above average main dishes to the okay breakfast and lunch offerings, it's a 6 out of 10. The ship itself is another letdown, with some great indoor venues that are really solid, but a rather bland series of common areas and an outdoor deck that seems to try its hardest to disrupt your view of the ocean. It's a 5 out of 10. The experience is where Virgin shines. While the app is god-awful, it is something that can be fixed rather easily, and the entertainment and overall vibe far outshadow it on how great it is. It's a 9 out of 10. Nearly perfect for what type of product this is, only taken back by the app and how you're almost required to be on your phone the whole time. Finally, there's value. It's not that far off from Celebrity's pricing, but it's also not as good of a shipboard luxury experience. Virgin calls this a super yacht-like experience, and I just don't see it that way. Though you are getting something truly unique, and if the higher prices justify a better pay for the crew and a really great set of passengers to mingle with, then it helps the sticker shock. That's a 7 out of 10, giving Valiant Lady and Virgin Voyages, as it stands now, a total score of 32 out of 50. So those are my thoughts on Virgin Voyages. There's a lot to love and a lot to feel meh about. And it makes sense why.
Meh.
It's a first-time cruise company entering an industry which is ultra-competitive and recovering from a massive turndown. I am really excited to see where the company goes from here, and I hope they make it through this tough time. But what do you think? Have you been on a Virgin cruise before? And if so, do you agree with me? Not everyone has had the same experience as me, so I really am curious to see what you think about the product and if you think it's worth the money. If you enjoyed this video and this deep look into leisure experiences around the world, please subscribe to the channel for new videos, hopefully every month. My name is Jake, and thank you very much for watching.
Bro, his name is Jake.
Another weather update. Today is going to be another scorcher over in...
Whoa, whoa.
A while back,
Hello? God, I think he died. Yeah, bro died. Holy shit. The fuck did I go? Yeah, he died. Chat, he died. Bro probably fell asleep. Holy shit, he probably did. Holy shit. Fuck. Fuck. Motherfucker. Oh my god. fucking cunt. Where the fuck do I go? Great. Why the fuck did he leave? Where the fuck did he go? How the fuck did he leave?